So today we're talking about micro pedals. These have kind of become popular in the recent years. Probably dozens of companies at this point have put out pedals or lines of pedals, these tiny enclosures, and they're great. It's a perfect way to fit a bunch more effects on your board, saving space that way. A lot of the components to these pedals have continued to get smaller and smaller, so they can do a lot more in a smaller enclosure. So it's awesome. And so I thought it'd be fun to put a little board together with some of my favorites. I'll preface this by saying it's by no means an exhaustive list. I'm probably missing some of the main attractions in this category. But for me, I just kind of had a few of these laying around, and I put the board together with some of my favorites that all fall into this mini category. So we're going to primarily be talking about the new Flamma delay, their mini delay offering here. It's awesome. I've been really impressed with the Flamma stuff. I've had a few of their pedals in to demo. They sent me this one, but I think it's like $39 new. It's ridiculous, and it sounds really good. So they're a really compelling brand for anyone that's looking for these effects on a budget, without sacrificing a lot of sound quality, and some of the features they have on their pedals are great too. So we're going to talk about this FC03, their Flamma delay. We also have a couple effects from Fairfield Circuitry, the Accountant compressor, and the Model B overdrive. And we've got the MXR Timmy overdrive in their mini enclosure, and then a Mr. Black reverb. That sounds great. So the rest of the video will kind of go through some sounds. I'll show you the board and show you some sounds that we can make with that combination of pedals, and also answer some questions that people had over on my Instagram page. So if you're not following on Instagram, check out @AmbientEndeavors over there. And if you are, check out the rest of this video and I'll answer some of the questions that you guys left over there. Check it out. All right, we're back. I'm playing a Fender Player Mustang, running through the pedals and sending on to a Strymon Iridium in the round C Fender mode. So for the clean tone, it sounds like this. And so right now we've got the Model B on. It's always on. So this is the setting we've got going. It's sort of a light texture, just a really slight overdrive. The cool thing about this pedal is the sag knob, so you can starve the voltage to the circuit and get some cool tones. So that's kind of cool, but I really like it as just like a slightly dirty boost or really low gain drive. So we'll kind of keep it there. Yeah, it's a fun pedal. If you've got a switching system or a true bypass looper, you can just toss it in one of the loops and use it like a overdrive or a boost, and it's great. It doesn't take up much space at all. From there, we'll talk about the compressor. So you guys had some questions about this. It's actually one of my favorite compressors. It's tiny, it's simple. There's not a lot of controls to get lost in, and that's why I like it. So I almost always run it with both settings at 1. So the ratio, it's like 6:1 compression ratio, and the pad is at -8 dB. So it's like a light compression. I always run it first in the chain or at the front of the chain. I like it to be the first thing that my guitar hits, to just kind of even out some of the dynamics from picking, but not to really do anything to my overdriven tone. So I run it before overdrives, and that's how I'll do it here in the video, and we'll show you comparison, and then I'll keep it on. So it's subtle, but it really adds a nice little piece of texture and compression to the signal. All right, let's kick on the delay. So we'll start in analog mode. So it's cool. It sounds nice. Again, it's a $39 delay pedal, so the expectations are pretty low, but it sounds, similar to an analog delay. Nice and warm repeats. Go to real echo. I am not exactly sure what they're modeling with this setting, but we'll see how it sounds. So this feels a little bit darker than the than the analog setting. Pretty similar. There's not a whole lot of nuance to it outside of that. But again, a really solid sounding delay. Let's go down to the tape echo. I really like this mode. This kind of stood out to me when I was first playing. So this I like because sometimes you get lower end delays and they put a tape echo mode in there and it doesn't really sound like a tape echo. This one you get a little bit of that kind of flutter and warble on the repeats, which is cool. It's subtle, but it's enough to distinguish it from the other modes, which I really like. All right, let's throw some reverb on, the Mr. Black reverb. These guys play really well together. And this can get really wet for some cool swells or really ambient textures. Yeah, one of the things I love about the Mr. Black reverb is as you get deeper tones, deeper reverb sounds, longer decays, there seems to be this modulation that kind of creeps in and becomes more noticeable, which is cool. And it gets really deep. The decay goes out pretty long, and you can get some really ambient sounds. Let's dial it back a little bit. I dig it. All right, let's get to some of the other questions that came up about the rest of the board. You guys were wondering about the Timmy. So this is really cool. One of you asked about how it compares to the original Timmy. I think it's really similar, if not identical. I don't really hear many differences in the tones. The control set is slightly different. So the treble and the bass control are more intuitive. If you dial clockwise to the right, you get more of that frequency. Whereas in the old model, it was like an inverted, like a reverse taper pot, which is kind of weird. So in the sketch at the start, I used it to get some pretty like gritty tones, turning the gain up. So that's cool. I mean, the Timmy is such a great overdrive. You can use it as an EQ, as a boost, as an overdrive. It's really versatile. The EQ controls are really versatile. So I like it in that type of setting to give kind of a warm, thick overdrive sound. I often use it just as like a always on low gain thing with the gain turned down a fair amount, and the treble kind of boosting a little bit so you get some brightness to it. Now remember the Model B is still on, so we're kind of stacking at this point. Let's see how this sounds. Yeah, so there you go. You've got a lot of tones in a mini board here, 5 pedals. Some of them are really towards the budget line, like the Flamma, and others are, I think the Timmy and the Mr. Black are around $100. The Fairfield stuff is a little bit more, but some really great options for those categories of pedals, and you've got a whole pedal board on like 12 inches of real estate. So it's pretty cool.